welcome back guys. Today we're going to be playtesting Cyberpunk 2077 on the brand new update 2.11. So in this update apparently there's a huge difference in performance, so I wanted to test it out for you guys. We're going to test out low, medium, high and ultra, also testing it with and without frame gen. So let's start the video off. This is now low, getting around 130 FPS. Right guys, this is now without frame gen, and as you can see there is a humongous difference in FPS. We are getting around 70s to 60 FPS, which is still very playable, but you would want to see a bit more FPS. Now let's try medium without and then with frame gen. Right, so now this is now medium without frame gen, and as you can see we are getting around 60 to 70 FPS. Still very playable frame rates. I wouldn't complain too much about this. Now let's try it with frame gen. Alright, then now let's give it a second. This is now medium with frame gen, and as you can see, huge difference in FPS. We're not getting as much as before with the 130 with frame gen on low, but we are getting over 100 FPS easily, so still extremely playable FPS. Now let's try high without and then with frame gen. We are now playing the game on high without frame gen, and as you can see we're still getting 60 FPS consistently. Still very playable. This is quite a pretty hard to run area, pretty intense considering the amount of population, the amount of people around. A lot of stuff going on, lots of different lights, a lot of different people doing different things, people driving. So this is very playable. You can imagine if you're doing a mission and you're also not recording, you are definitely going to get into the 70s. So now guys, we're going to turn frame gen on and see. I can imagine we're probably going to get around 100 FPS. Guys, we're now in high with frame gen, and I was right. And I was actually expecting a little bit less. We're actually getting 110, 106 FPS. Which is obviously extremely impressive and very playable. And as you can see, the lighting and everything, the reflections are actually really impressive. No, very impressed. The game looks unreal. Honestly, one of the best looking games ever, and it came out almost, I think, 4 years ago now. I think it came out in 2020, which is just insane considering it's now 2024. Now let's try ultra without frame gen and then with. So guys, now we have the game set to ultra, and we are getting around the 50s FPS, and obviously once we put a frame gen on, we are going to get a humongous difference in FPS. So I'm not too upset. I was hoping we'd get at least 70 or 60 FPS, but considering it is literally playing off a laptop, for fuck's sakes, like if you remember when this game, when it first came out, like it ran horrendously on every console, most people's PCs. Like you would really need a high-end PC back in the day to play this, and like this game came out in 2020, like, and now you can play it off a laptop. So a lot of work has been done, but a lot of work still has to be done to the game. But still very playable, obviously. And once we put frame gen on, I can imagine a lot more FPS. So let's test that now. And wow. So guys, frame gen is now on, and we are getting 90 to 100 FPS. The game looks absolutely beautiful. Still looks really good. Like, just look at the reflections on this car. Let's go for a quick drive and see how well the game runs while we go like pretty fast, just out of curiosity. And the game crashed. Okay, so the game did crash there, which happens not very often, but it does happen sadly sometimes. So I am just going to walk around just for a couple seconds just to see how well the game runs while on ultra with frame gen, and as you can see we are getting 80-90 FPS. I'm going to show you my settings as well, just in case you are wondering. These are the settings that I have. Everything's absolutely maxed out using just frame gen, and as you can see we are getting 80s to 90s FPS. I would like to get myself a car, so let's just get myself my Porsche. There we go, or as they call in the game, the 911 Turbo, but really it's a Porsche, let's be honest. So let's just go for a little quick drive and just see what it's like driving, because driving usually takes way more performance than actually playing the actual game, because there's so much to load up constantly. New cars, new shadows, new shaders, new textures. So really, if we can keep it above 60 while driving extremely fast, we are probably more than likely going to be fine in-game. You have to remember as well guys, while you're playing in-game in actual missions, like small dense areas, you are going to get even more FPS. So remember that. Also, I'm recording this video obviously, which is going to tank the performance by about 10 FPS on casual usually. So there's also that as well. So imagine if you were playing this, I'd say you could easily get about 100 FPS on max settings. So yeah guys, that's the end of the video. If you did enjoy it or find it at all useful, or just if you want to be sound out, and just leave a like, comment below a different game or what you thought of the game. If you're impressed with what they've done so far with the game, coming from where they were at the beginning back in 2020 when the game first came out. Yeah, but anyways, leave a like, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.